School looks a little different nowadays.
What do you think we learned last time? Do you guys remember what we learned?
Remote learning isn't perfect, but for these teachers and students, it helps to try.
I'll take maybe 3 hands.
TRY stands for Teens Reaching Youth. It's a UVM Extension 4-H program that creates environmental leadership opportunities for students in grades 7 through 12. For 6 weeks, the teens teach elementary school students on topics like food systems, forests, and water quality.
And what about the small boxes of cereal? Those come in a pack that looks like...
Today's lesson focuses on the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. The teachers are from Camel's Hump Middle School, and the students are first graders at Richmond Elementary School.
We're teaching them about waste solutions and basically how to reduce, reuse, recycle, and compost. And we teach them what they can do at home to do those things, what they can do at school, and what they can do in the community, and how to teach people how to do it too.
They're really easy to teach because they're just so excited to be there and have other people in their classroom that they're just so excited all the time. I love hanging out with little kids. I think they're so fun.
The curriculum was developed by UVM Extension and the Lamoille Regional Solid Waste Management District. The team receives a lesson plan, but it's up to them to make it their own.
We have a lesson plan, but we also made our own slides for it and put our own twist on it. Since we were doing it online, we wanted to have some sort of a visual something other than just our faces, because normally in person we would have like books with pictures, and we would have all sorts of pictures and stuff that we would show them and pass around and stuff.
TRY follows the 4-H model of learning by doing. As students, these young women appreciate the experience of getting to be the teacher, as well as learning other life skills that aren't always taught in school.
Perseverance, definitely. We're stuck in a pandemic. We're still going to get through it. And even though it's definitely different and harder, we're still going to learn. We're still going to be able to connect with people, which is really nice. And even though it's through the computer, at least we're talking to people and kind of seeing people. It doesn't have to be as hard as you may think it is.
I mean, I definitely know now how hard it is for our teachers to teach online, and also it's just sort of made me a little bit more organized with myself and just the things that I have to do.
As kids and teenagers and preteens, we don't really get very many opportunities to be the teacher. We're always in school and being the students and learning so much, and that is really important. But it's also important for us as growing beings to learn about leadership. Like if I get a job later in life and it's about the environment or something, I think it'll be really important to have this under us. And this leadership is just very important for us to learn earlier rather than later.
It's real life.
Amy Poor teaches first grade at Richmond Elementary School. She values having TRY in her classroom.
Middle schoolers and high schoolers students have this unique energy that younger students love and admire and are inspired by. And I thought that, and it's a great modeling opportunity, when they see another student who is older, but still a student, and see like, oh, maybe I can do that. I can be a teacher. I can teach important things like this.
Learning life skills gets to the soul of TRY. What Poor's first graders learn and take home, well, that's a matter of the heart.
And I have to say, I'm so impressed that the TRY program was able to create this virtual, beautiful online learning. And I see after the class is done, these concepts sticking with them throughout the day, after snack or after lunch, saying, ooh, we need to compost this. And I think that they do go home and talk about these things. And if their family maybe isn't participating fully in recycling and composting. I believe wholeheartedly that they would not allow for that, and would be encouraging them. Let's make this change. Let's help. So it is really important work for sure.
I think it's really important for kids to learn about this, and I wish that I had this experience when I was in first and second grade, just because I really care about the environment and I do want to do good. And if I had tried earlier, I think I would have been super excited, and just like, I wish I had the opportunity when I was that age.
Online or in person, the life skills this program teaches is proof that learning by doing is always worth a try. In Richmond, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.